when it come down to it, they want to be happier, healthier, reasonably prosperous, love and be loved, hope for the future.
Will you pay that?
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are here today on another episode of Unapologetic, right here at the US Café. Kaya's flavor and all is in this building. All that, the networking that we have today, y'all already know how I bring it, man. I bring it with excitement. I bring the truth, and that is pretty much what is all this here. Is the truth, it's facts, and everyone in here has something to offer. So please come down to the US Café, located at 2300 Maffet, right here in Muskegon Heights, Michigan, 49444. Y'all know I give y'all the address. Come down. All right, so today, ladies and gentlemen, we have another king that miraculously appeared on the show today, man. He's been so busy. I thank him for coming through. And can y'all please just put your hands together for the Director of Diversity, the king, Mr. Mickey Wallace. How you doing,
man? I'm humble, man. We're gonna cut it and edit all that out.
Nah, we got to.
We just gonna introduce me as just Mickey, man. No, it's a pleasure to be here. I appreciate you making time for this, and definitely shout out to this establishment, the US Café here on the corner of Barney and Maffet, Muskegon Heights, Michigan, for being allowing us to have this opportunity here as well, paving the way for so many up-and-coming businesses as the staff here continues to wrap their arms around the community, man. So Unapologetically Podcast included. So yeah, just a great opportunity to be in an awesome venue, man.
Thank you. Very humble, very humble. But oh man, I just have to I had to have you on the show today, man, because what you do in the community is so important. Our mental health is very important, our diversity within our communities, and knowing where it is, who we're dealing with. I feel like we don't do that no more. And have, a person like you in this position, as being, Director of Diversity, in the HealthWest spectrum, it's like, wow, man. When I saw it, I was like, maybe, because I was picturing like maybe a 50-year-old man, been established for a while. But here I see the picture, I said, nah, man, let me re-Google this. This is wrong. I think Google messed up on this one. But man, when I came across, what you have done, the entails of your work, I was like, wow, he's about it, focused, on top, all the time.
It's really just a team effort, to be honest, man. I received that. I'm working on receiving accolade. That's one of my kind of weaknesses. I usually kind of try to keep the light off me, man. But and honestly, in all humility, I couldn't do it without my team. Great staff there at HealthWest, man. But even more so, the team and the community that helped me to become the person that I am and continuing to grow to be. To be able to even step in this kind of a position and be able to produce in it, man. So, it's really, I'm always mindful, of my success is our success,
I like that. Man. You give off that leadership vibe, like you, even though you don't want to take the lead, but if you have to take the lead, you there to take the lead.
I mean, somebody got to be at the wheel, at some point.
But as us being in the community of color, minorities, we don't see that type of leadership every day. Some people, superheroes are what they see on TV, what they hear on music. So it's okay. Not saying that not to crash on anybody's parade, because I have some superheroes myself. However, to be more, you have to grow along with life itself. You got to adapt.
I think that's important. I'll take that note right there about having superheroes, because in the realm of behavioral health, when we look at it, representing HealthWest and it being a behavioral health institution here in Muskegon, in the county of Muskegon, a part of that for the Black community, when we think about superheroes and what goes into the behavioral aspect of having someone to kind of idolize, to model yourself after in the form of a superhero, we didn't have that.
No.
You know, you look at our cartoon figures, you look at our heroes. It was the Supermans, the Batmans, right? It was the Wonder Womans and what have you. And there's something to be said about that psychological impact when your heroes and saviors, I guess for that matter, don't look like you. And while many would just kind of consider that as the norm, you know, kind of a white supremacist dominant society way of thinking, that's the way it's always been. That doesn't speak well enough to the psychological impact that it has on communities of color when we start to get in positions of leadership and we don't see the value in ourselves.
Right.
You know, you often hear the term of like white ice is colder. You know, that's a real, it's a real barrier to success. It's a real barrier. It creates a barrier for business owners. It creates a barrier for educators. You know, those that would go on to pursue more in life. They have a little bit more of an obstacle or a hurdle to overcome because of those psychological impacts from childhood. And so that's a big reason I wanted to step into the realm of behavioral health. Was first I want to learn something about myself. You know, I think that's where it started for all of us. It's like, man, I ain't crazy. Now, I mean, I'm crazy, but I ain't crazy. So I know if
we all
I
have
got
those
some,
thoughts.
if I got some issues, chances are the people I grew up with. You know, and I'm not something. You know, not to downplay myself, but I don't look at myself as something special. It's like I came up in what you would call the hood, just like most of my friends and family. And so those same things to be subjected to was right there for me as well. So it's like, oh, well, Mickey did it. No, Mickey don't know how I do it. I got to go uncover some things and see where things were. Yeah, you know, it's like, don't hold no light to me. You see all the skeletons, you know? So it's really just wanting to be able to start to help to make behavioral health not necessarily cool, but a norm to where we having these discussions about trauma and how they impacting us right now and why it might be hard to hold down a job or why it might be hard to take instructions from somebody that, you know, it's varying degrees to this thing, man. And I think until we really start to get personal with it like this, you know, on Unapologetic Podcast, where we just keep it 100 and talk about the ramifications that we're going through, I think that's where the headway starts to get made at. And until we start to do this on a home level, somebody will be viewing this, you know, on whatever platform they view it on in their home. And maybe that's where that discussion starts. It don't start with a superhero. It starts with you being a superhero and having this discussion at home. Because my mom and dad didn't go to therapy. And my mama still be like, I therapize the therapist. Like, what you mean you a therapist today?
Hey, I always wondered what that meant.
Hey, no word, mama. I love my mama, love you, mama. But you know, when you grow up in that, it can be really difficult to start to see outside of that to help yourself because we just call it being strong. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And we never deal with it.
And so, do you feel as though that dealing with dealing with the different parts of Muskegon, because Muskegon is divided. Let's be honest.
Yeah, very much so.
Divided. So how would you bring all those different mentalities together? What would a way, hypothetically speaking, would you do that?
Honestly, I hate to sound like I got a ready answer, but I mean, I kind of think about this often. You know, part of my purpose in life is to be a bridge builder. You know, like I love connecting people with opportunities, resources, and ideas for the betterment of our incoming generations. And so that kind of goes across tracks and barriers and boundaries to see what's the drive. You know, whether you from downtown to the Heights, North Muskegon, Roosevelt Park, you know, whatever, you know, municipality you want to say you're from in this small county, what's your drive? And if you can start to find that common core with people, man, you know, I think we all kind of want to get to some of the basics of life. Everybody want to be happy. Everybody want to be healthy, reasonably prosperous. They want to love and be loved. We can really break things down to a fundamental level of what we all want. And whether you're talking about the cat that's just getting out of doing time, you know, for 20 years, him or her still want the same thing as the person who's you know, been through an Ivy League school. When it comes down to it, they want to be happier, healthier, reasonably prosperous, love and be loved, hope for the future. When we can start to get together on those terms, man, we can start to see the humanity in each other. and really start to see those barriers that are there. It's like, man, what's stopping you from achieving that? It's like, man, you got everything, your grass green on that side, you straight, but you don't know that they're battling with addiction in their family, or you can't say what somebody else is going through just because it doesn't look like what you look like.
Right.
So I really, I try to be mindful of that to create an equitable playing field, man, because we in this thing together when it comes down to
man.
it.
And you do got to put together the way, just the outline. Can we get just the outline? Just sounds good, man. You can hear how much you've been putting that thought into, like, how can I make a bridge for all the people, not just just group of people, because they over here, just all people. And that's something that's rare, I feel like, especially in the communities, not just in Muskegon, but all over. Because we've been going through so much in this country, and dealing with, deaths upon deaths upon deaths. And that takes a toll, not just, even though you don't think it does, I feel like it does, because you're around the people.
Indeed.
You're around that energy. So
Indeed.
I feel like that energy, it transfers, energy transfers.
It does.
So it's like, I feel that in the air, and it's so thick. And I applaud the people, including like yourself, that even though this is all going on in our society right now, you keeping above water, you making sure you're telling your team is helping you, keep a level headed, keep focused, keep that drive going.
Yeah.
And so my question is, it's like, how do you bring it every day, even though some days, I know everybody got that last, like, man, I'm just tired, how do you keep it going every day?
Yeah, that's heavy, man. It goes back to the drive again. When you know your why, that's what kind of get me out of the bed. Like, I'm tired like everybody else. And honestly, I ain't no superhero by any means, so I don't want to come out here like every day I'm just on. I feel like if you own all the time, you probably own something. So I try to be mindful of my balance, my well-being, and I have a checks and balance system that I check in with daily to see, am I skewed? Am I giving too much towards my professional life and not enough towards my family life? Right. Am I having too much social time and not enough self-reflecting time?
Wow.
I used to be a guy I still am a guy that's learning how to prioritize recreation or play, because for so long it was like, if you're black, you got to work 3 times harder than everybody else to get the same amount. And so play started to really fall down on the list of priorities until that burnout started to happen. You give, and you feel like nobody's pouring back into you. Well, it's hard for anybody to pour into you when you don't know how you need to be poured into. So I had to really identify what would fill that requirement for play for me. Right. And sometimes it's, I might go out to the state park and take a hike. I might go out, to the beach and relax a little bit. It looks different for everybody. Of course. But to really be able to recharge those batteries, man. So that's one way that I'm able to do it. And then the other way, like you said, energy, it continues. And so I feed off the energy of the people around me. Like, I have a really good team. Kaya, Director, for instance, like you can stop into the US Café and get a quick recharge. If you ain't like down and out and you just need a quick pep up, you can stop by a place like this to where people are focused. People have a common thread of saying that they want to see the greater good prevail. That can be energizing in and of itself. So really monitoring your support circles is a big way to get energized. But there are those times where you can't get it from somebody else. It got to come from within. And that means I got to step back. I got to go ahead and put the day off in, tell the mentees I'm not showing up, tell whoever I'm not hanging out. It's just Mickey time. And learning to be alone,
I gotta
meditation.
Learn that. I also got to learn that. Hey, I ain't going to lie. I suck at that.
I'll be lying if I said it happened. Yeah, I do it every day. And I'll be lying and say like I've been doing it forever. Some of these practices are very new for me. Years, some of them 3-4 years old, but it takes that development, So, Mickey, 5 years from now, I wouldn't have been able to have this conversation like this. Not at all. I would have been like, what? Recharge? Man,
I'm on the go.
I'm tired right now. I'm still moving, but it takes.
So, as young as you are, man, how did you get into this position in HealthWest, and how are you in how HealthWest is you being one of the leaders that's driving it, helping implement in the communities and stuff like that are helping like men of color, women of color, you know, just black and brown, just the community as a whole, as a general. Because a lot of people don't know what HealthWest like really is.
Yeah.
So you know, people come like HealthWest, man, what do they do? I'm like, wow. You know, and it's right in the community. So it's like
the main hub.
So what is it that HealthWest do and help with the community?
So HealthWest is a behavioral health institution, and we serve from substance use issues, developmental disabilities. Right. We have wraparound services that include pharmaceuticals as far as prescriptions, dental care, medical care. So it looks to really be wraparound agency that partners with organizations in the communities to really be able to service the community in a more holistic approach. So youth services, crisis residential services, mobile crisis services, just varying different services, man. I'm going to kind of put it in perspective because, like you said, people don't know what it is. A number of years ago, and really before I came to the agency, I used to still think it was the crazy place. You know, like, that's how you identify it. Like, if you was at HealthWest, man, you got a problem. Like, something's wrong. Don't you be seen coming out of there.
Bad.
You know, and so even in the last maybe 5 to 8 years, with the rebranding of HealthWest and working to change that image, organizational behavior is a pretty big order to fill. So when you're coming from behavioral health, and you got to think in models of old, institutions like this used to have like those basements you see on the movies where people was chained to the bed. They shop therapy. You know.
We seen too many movies.
You know, and again, that goes into a lot of the bias that we experience with seeking services as well. Because
that's true.
You'll have an agency like this in your own backyard, and you up to 3 in the morning and back up at 6 because you stressing. And you don't see a way out, but here's this agency 2 blocks over from you, and you don't want to go there to inquire about possible services. You know, whether you can get them there or get a referral, it's about taking that first step and overcoming our own bias or our own programming to being resistant to services.
Right.
So, I say it does a plethora of things for the community, man. But when we talk about organizational change and really changing the model of even the people that work there, that's still underway, because we got to get into what works now, not the practices of old, and you got people that been in this game for 30 50 years plus, they used to a certain way. You might run into some barriers that you didn't expect would exist, but those are still people who are in a professional position still overcoming their own biases. So it's not perfect by any means, but that's one reason I love being there, is that I get to help be a part of that change,
Man, God, man, you all the way around, man.
Hey, man, I'm standing on the shoulders right now of people that came before
me.
I ain't started none of this,
coming with it.
I ain't started none of this work, man.
That is beautiful, though, man, because man. Yo, how you put stuff together, man? You just sound like a what they call a conductor. You in there with just Beethoven in there. Come on, y'all, let's get it. Y'all gotta bring that tempo back up. That's what's up, man.
Gotta be on the same
passion.
beat, though. Yeah, it's definitely a passion.
That is what I see, man. You speak of it so highly that I want to go and let me do a chaperone a little bit. Let me help somebody.
Hey, come through.
Let me show my face. Let me show you how I feel about it. So it's like it's a wonderful thing, and I really do feel like people need to understand what's in the community. What is there, like you said, to offer for us as a whole, and what you just put out there seals the deal. Seals the deal. Because a lot of people that I've spoken with, man, like they don't even know. Besides, it's the crazy house. Like like you just explained everything about helping with prescription, doctor, medical, dental. So it's like
wraparound service.
So wraparound service. So I can just, it's a one-stop shop. You know, it's almost like, just to put it all in one nutshell, it's a one-stop shop. And you present it so well, and I feel like that's what the people have been missing. You know, that presentation of like somebody that, you know, cares. Like who gives a damn about the people that always has a voice. Like after a while, you know, people feel like in the community that I've talked to feel like they have been shunned out.
Yeah.
You know, there ain't nobody listening to them.
Yep.
And so it's like, we're listening. There's people out there like, for example, like yourself and HealthWest that are out here are trying, and individual entrepreneurs and leaders in the community. We're starting to make our what they say, your grand opening. You know, you give a little bit before you give a lot.
Soft opening.
So I thank you for what you have done. I thank you for what you have been doing, and you just doing a phenomenal job, man. And continue. And thank you for coming on to the show. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Well, before we go, sound like we closing out. I want to make sure we give a couple plugs, man. Definitely come visit us at the US Café right here in Muskegon Heights on the corner of Barney Maffet. Shout out to Kaya, Thornton Hunter, and shout out to De'Erica Nichols Lewis. Just so many great, Jeff, my man Jeff here as well. Just so many great people that are from this community that work tirelessly to continue to build this community up. I also want to give a shout out to my mentees, the Comedic Kings, who continue to just grow and impress us every day. Young men of color who are growing to do great things. And of course, I wouldn't be here to see the land you're representing today without my friends and family, my staff, friends and family at HealthWest. You know, if you need services, reach out. That's the only way to get the information. There may not, if it's not a fit for you, we'll do our best to give you that proper referral. But the worst thing we can do is not ask a question. You know, have that, or kind of talk to our circles of people who are in the same rut as us. I think that's the first way to get out of that rut, is to start to really ask questions to get outside, because someone in your circle may be waiting on you to lead the charge for them. They may be waiting on you to go take therapy first and report back to them of how it's helping you. Understand, there's no quick fix to these ailments that we have, man. You know, these psychological traumas
are never want a quick fix.
Never a good thing. Exactly. You know, I might let the dude who fixes brakes, you know, pump my tires up, but he can't give me no warranty for my car, so we're gonna need to get licensed.
No motor,
you know what I'm saying? You know, we have to be mindful. And this particular motor we're talking about is our brain. You know, I wouldn't let somebody without a license operate on my brain. So I need to be mindful of who I consult for my mental health as well, man. So I just encourage, you know, all of our people, man, whatever color you fall on that spectrum of colors, you know, we want people when it come down to it, but I'm gonna specifically address our black people, our African Americans, our people of color, because the disparities are overwhelming for us. The barriers, the access to health is overwhelming for us. The data shows it. Even in this current climate of COVID, the numbers are staggering when it comes to communities of color, and we have to be real enough to address it for what it is. Whether you're pro-vaccine or anti-vaccine, get the information, right? And know enough to know why you're making the decision you're making, not just because your friends or family aren't doing it. Know for yourself. If you don't come from a history of people seeking therapy, start to seek it for yourself. You know, I've been in therapy consistently for the past 3 years now.
Has it been improvement?
Man, look here. Because I ain't finna tell all y'all my problems. You know what I'm saying?
You almost slipped up, y'all.
And at the same time, I'm mindful of, you know, it's
that's good.
If I want advice on something specific, I need to go to a specialist. You know, I'm not just gonna talk to mom or dad about the issues that I went through as a kid, because they might not be able to see outside of that box. And it's to no harm to them because they grew up in that box as well. So that's what we call the norm then. We want to start to break some of these models and cycles and create a new norm for ourselves of really seeking the services that we need so we can be healthier, so we can be better men and women, so we can be better husbands and wives, girlfriends and boyfriends, students, instructors, coaches. It all goes together to raise an effective community. Business owners, you name it, we have to do the mental work. The battle starts in the mind, and if you can't be unapologetic about doing the work for yourself, there's no way you can be unapologetic about doing it for your community. So shout out to Unapologetic Podcast bringing me on today. I appreciate this platform, kid.
Thank you, man.
It's a beautiful thing.
You're doing so much in the community, man. I had to bring you on. I had to.
I appreciate it, man.
I appreciate you, man. But thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for this time that you're giving us, man. Remember to subscribe, like, and share. And please leave a comment. I love when we, interact. I love that, man. Let people know how we doing and what we can improve on. If you got a question, we might can put it into the next interview. So please, feel free to speak. And remember, always stay unapologetic, man. Hey, thank you, King. I appreciate it, man.
Right.
They said that we was...